forget the TARDIS, which of these Doctor Whos can only drive an automatic car? The answer is Christopher Eccleston.
Thank you very much. So, in the last bit of this morning's show, we're trying to find out who on earth only sits the driving test for automatic cars. Larry, Janet, Dominic's thoughts in a sec. 0207 173 5555 is the number for yours. But before I tell you any more about that, we have a special guest on the phone. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi, George Michael.
It is me.
Welcome to the Right Stuff. And I believe it is thanks to Twitter that you're aware, or that basically the story in The Sun today that we did in our papers, the Gordon Smart exclusive about you and Kenny going your separate ways, is not true?
No, it's totally untrue. It's totally untrue. It's just a desperate attempt to overshadow the fact that I finally got a chance to say sorry to everybody yesterday.
Yeah, it was a big interview yesterday.
You know, the BBC leaked some stuff about the interview that I did with Chris Evans on Friday, which is for, you know, I'm doing my little bit for comic relief over the next couple of weeks, and decided that I didn't want to make a big deal out of, you know, there was some talk of an interview before Christmas about my time in prison and everything. I decided I really didn't want to do that, you know. I didn't really want to exploit that situation because I took it very seriously.
Yeah.
And anyway, so this morning, so yesterday when I saw these things that the BBC had put out, which I basically just said sorry to everybody, and that I realised I deserved what had happened to me, and that I felt I had a karmic bill to pay. And I think News International thought, oh no, that's a good day's press for George Michael if he gets to apologise, you know. So they came up with this, and this morning, you know, hoping that I was going to get some nice publicity for comic relief, and you know, and also the chance to say sorry before I put music out there again. And I get the Kenny's walked out on me, which is complete bullshit. I'm sorry.
Oh, no! Whoops! No, I'm sure we didn't mean to say that daytime banned word, and I apologise to those that may be offended.
Could I just comment on? Could I just say to one of your guests that Kenny has an equally colourful life?
What a horrible story, George. It must be infuriating for George.
Although I do have to thank you for saying you thought I wouldn't be on the shelf for long.
I'm offering.
Now, what about, do you drive an automatic car?
You know I do. The only reason you never saw me shooting around that track on Top Gear.
Is that right? Is that right? You don't go on Top Gear?
I'd love to do that, but I'm too embarrassed to tell them I can't drive a manual. You know what happened? I was working as... I know this sounds bizarre, but I was working as a labourer when I was taking my driving lessons as a kid, and I lost my job as a labourer because I got very drunk on the night of my girlfriend's birthday. Lost my job, and my father refused to carry on helping me to pay for my driving lessons as punishment, extra punishment. So I never got, and then very soon after that, we signed our record deal, and I didn't get a chance to learn to drive until Wham split up, really. So I got my first car, which was a Mercedes.
Well, if you could, you would.
I got my first car, and you know, I really had almost no time, and I wasn't really particularly enthralled by my lessons in a Fiesta years before. I thought I would just stick with the automatic.
I can sense your feelings of shame, George. I can.
Yeah.
Now, one final thing.
It's true. You don't tell people you can't drive a manual, do you?
You see, I told the audience.
True.
I was right about that, and Prince Andrew. Now, you've been very good at...
Can I just say something,
Go
Matthew?
on.
Apart from wanting to tell you that I'm shocked that I love your show because of all the nasty things you wrote about me in the 80s.
It was a long time ago. Go on, say again.
I watched you every morning in the Nick. You were part of my
That's made my day. Now, tell them about the song. It's True Faith, isn't it?
Yeah. This is just what I wanted to say before I go. Is besides all of this publicity this week, you know, that there will be around things that I've said and whether, I just want to remind people that you know, Comic Relief. My new track will be the money's all going to Comic Relief. New Order have also donated all their publishing royalties, which is lovely of them. And I just wanted to reiterate that I'm really appreciative that I really feel as though I'm given a chance to start again because I felt I deserved my punishment. It was all fine by me, you know. And please don't let people be distracted by this rubbish story. You know, I still, you know, Kenny and I have had our problems, but I love him very much. He's never objected to my lifestyle, and he's never once tried to walk out on me. So.
George Michael. George, I'm keeping his seat warm for you. Anytime you want to park that beautiful backside down here, it's waiting for you. How amazing. Right. George admits it. He's ashamed, and so he should be. Automatic cars. Are you all gear-based?
What's the point of driving a car with a manual gear shift? It's like reverting to...
Because you can
It's like
drive.
reverting to the
Can you, though?
post
Can you, though, Larry? Can you?
Absolutely.
We don't believe you.
Well, OK, listen to me. When I passed the driving test, there was no choice. You had to pass the driving test on a manual shift.
Right?
I've driven everything since I was 17. I've driven trucks, What's the point of driving a manual shift when they've invented an automatic gearbox? What are you trying to prove?
Mrs. Wright, Mrs.
You're
Wright,
a racing driver?
He's begging to be allowed to do the automatic only
test. People that are
test.
learning to drive they're learning to manipulate a set of bits and pieces that are already there for you, and they're not concentrating on driving a car. My advice to anybody who wants to drive a car is learn
less
automatic.
fuel efficient, less
No,
fuel efficient.
I think manual driving is more sexy.
Yes, I
think
do too.
it is.
And why
It's
would
more
that be,
sexy.
Janet?
Well, it just is. I don't know. There's something about actually being in charge of the car, and it's actually in my book. That thing when when the guy's reversing and he puts his arm along the back of your seat. That's great, isn't it? That's great.
Well, it's funny because as a driver, I think it's kind of cool as well to do all of that. And then my back goes and I hobble around like a...
Manual driving is sexier.
Now,
definitely.
unbelievably, we have someone in our audience who is prepared to go on national television and make a horrible confession. Am I right, Eric?
Yes, Deborah. Who could that be?
She seems so nice.
It's not a confession.
Go on.
Yes, I only drive automatic.
So you did the automatic test?
Yes, I did.
And did the examiner come out and just laugh in your face when he saw you?
She?
She?
No.
Oh.
No, she didn't. I did it for convenience. I needed to pass very quickly. I was 8 months pregnant at the time.
Right.
And it was just easier. So that's why I did
Would you ever consider going back and doing the stick shift test?
I don't need to. I can hire automatic cars, so I don't need to.
You don't feel any sense of shame or embarrassment?
No, not at all. No, very proud of the fact that I can drive. That's the main thing.
There you are. That's the point. As long as if you can drive, it's terrific.
A little bit closer to how the car
But you're not... I don't mean to put... You're not really driving.
Of course
You're
you
just
are.
doing... you are to driving what Dodgems are to cars. That's all you're doing. You're sitting...
I get from A to B. That was the purpose. I can get from A to B.
travelling, not driving.
Moving through the gears manually makes you any more of a driver
Although Larry,
than them going through it.
in the age of a finite oil supply, it is more efficient to use gears.
Look, if that is the case, then to me, that's a different argument. What we're talking about is the sexiness.
It's also,
or the
it's also
unsexiness of driving a
embarrassing.
manual.
George Michael's right. It is also embarrassing.
To what? To say that you can't?
Because you're just steering the car, aren't you? You're not actually driving.
Absolutely, you're steering. Like
around.
Dodgems.
The difference between heating something up in a microwave and actually cooking.
Yes, thank you.
What it is.
And that's the perfect note to end. That it's time for me to select overdrive and get the hell out of here. Larry, it's been fantastic having you here.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
The book, I'll say again, Mummy's Boy. It's a proper autobiography, plenty of meat on the bones, and some fantastic talking points for us as well. And I do appreciate cut near the quick as well. Janet and Dominic, a fantastic start, and also George Michael made my day. I think, ladies and gents, we should show all of them some love.